Hello to the Woods community. I just thought I'd give a quick update on our Romany build. And it's been about a year and a half. It's been a long slog, but we're getting somewhere, I think. We're going to talk about the motors, which are right behind me. I'll take a quick tour of the boat itself, the hull, and then we'll look at the battery power, the batteries and all that good stuff. It looks as though I just took a shower, but in fact, this is all sweat. I just got the motors rejuvenated after being away for a little while. Got them started up, and in the tropics, you know, it's 100% humidity all the time, at least on the Pacific Ocean side of it. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at the various stages of the project, and then we'll have some comments at the end. So these will be the motors that we'll put on. 215 horsepower, 2 strokes. I think I went over this before, but the 15 horsepower, I was going to put two 9.9 4 strokes. They don't really have them here, and the 15 horsepower 2 strokes weighs less than a 9.9. I put those paddle props on, or I should say high thrust props. It took me a while to find those, but I was able to find those. And then I'm going to put eventually this metal guard around it. One of the biggest issues when you're sailing in the tropics or motoring is hitting things. So this guard here will help with that, hitting the prop and fouling it up and everything. Doesn't quite fit, as with everything that goes with boating, so I'm going to take this down to the weld shop. I've got a little metal piece we're going to fit on so that we can connect it to the skeg the way it's supposed to be connected, but otherwise I think we're more or less finished with this. You notice that the prop guard is a little bit big for the lower end. I bought the lower size, but the lower size is the right size for this motor, but this high thrust prop's a little bit bigger, so there's a little bit of it's not perfectly symmetrical around the prop, but the way I look at it, which is why the skeg protector isn't working, connector isn't fitting, but the way I look at it is we're not planing, so it's not really going to affect what the prop does underwater in terms of power, and a little bit of that clearance at the bottom end is a good thing as well when it comes to also hitting the bottom. Also, the other thing that these prop guards do is they connect, or they get rid of fishing line. So if you catch fishing line, which I do all the time, or plastic bags, it'll cut it all up so it doesn't foul up your prop. So I've been out of the country for a little bit, so I'm going to start the motor. It's been a couple of months, so I'll just spray this stuff in here. I don't have that little straw. That would be actually helpful. Be a little bit easier, but okay, just a little bit. Doesn't have to be too much. Then I brushed off the spark plugs. I always lose those little straws, and I had tons of this stuff before I left. It looks like somebody had their way with my supplies again. Anyway, we'll give it a couple tugs just so that the first start isn't totally cold. Okay, I just gave him a couple of pulls just with the oil we just put in. I couldn't film it. I have to get some equipment, I guess. I need the 2 hands, but we'll fill it up with water. We'll pull start and see how she does. Be real smoky. I don't anticipate any difficulty, but I wanted to pull through a few times with some of that WD-40 just to make sure that we're not, revving it up, metal on metal. It doesn't really do that. I guess I'm being overcautious. These little tachometers are kind of cool. I put them on. Of course, the instructions aren't so great, but you just run a little wire here. I mainly use it for the hours that are on the boat. And I think once you turn it, you can see, I think that's what it says. It says 2.2. I can't have my glasses on, but that's what that's good for. You never need a battery for that. It gets powered by itself or something. I don't know. So anyway, let's give it a start. So we're going to load it up with, fill up the buckets with water. The reason I have to fill up the buckets is that this one, I don't know if you can see it here, it has no pickups on the side. The pickup is underneath. It's a very old motor design, even though the motors are brand new. So the pickups are underneath. I've got to figure out a way, underneath the cavitation plate, I've got to figure out a way to maybe get a redesign the muffs, because that's what I like to use normally. When I put those guards on, I won't be able to put them in the bucket, and I probably won't be able to put it in gear with those bigger props. It might hit the bucket. And speaking of the props, there are 2 options with the propellers for high thrust. High thrust is a bit of a misnomer. You don't get any more power out of these propellers than you would any other one. You get more power at a certain range, which is the lower range. So the reason they're popular on sailboats, for those who don't know, is that they give you a lot of power at the low end. They're very flat. Basically, it's like in a car having first and second gear. If you ever drove a standard, or even on your bicycle with gears, you can start from a stop very easy. It gives you a little bit more torque. And these two-stroke motors, I think, will be a nice complement to that, 'cause they're supposed to be pretty torquey to begin with. I don't know. These are the first two-stroke motors I've ever had. So, but there's two sizes to the propellers pitch. One is 5-inch and one is 7-inch. I went with the 5 inches because it's a little bit harder for the motor to push those props. You get a little bit higher end speed, but what was recommended, since I'm using two motors, the 7-inch pitch will give us that, maybe we'll go 7 knots instead of 6 knots. See, the problem with these kinds of propellers is that they're going to hit the high rev at a very low speed. You get all that power delivered, because you're just using it to move the boat in and out of port, or maybe there's no wind and you're trying to get 6 knots, 7 knots, that might even be high. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. If you were to put one, like if it was a 9.9 4-stroke or even a 15 like this 2-stroke, it was just using the one, I probably would have gone with the 5-inch pitch. But since I have the two, I think it's reasonable to expect that we should do well with this. It's a little bit overpowered. Mr. Wood says you need no more than 9.9 horse to propel the boat, but since I'm in an area where there's really in the Pacific Ocean, you're pretty much on your own, and where I am, there's really no Coast Guard or sea tow or anything, so I'm going to get one more motor, and I'll rig it in a way, I'm going to get a little 8 horsepower for the dinghy, and I'll put one of those kickers in the middle, because I'll have this one on each side, one on port, one on starboard, and then I'll have a little kicker bar hidden away, so if I need a third motor, I've got it. You just don't want to get stuck out in the middle of nowhere, which has happened to me before. So let's fill these up, and then we'll give them a quick start. So the same thing happened here too. When I put this feeder in, this nasty fuel, whatever little bit left in the system came through. So I'm going to just pump some fuel into the bulb, and then if I don't like the way it looks, I'm going to dump it. Okay, we got one started. Let's get the other one. Someone broke my bucket, so it's leaking water. Let's try and get that one started. Okay, a little bit of duct tape to fix that leaky bucket while it was leaking. Duct tape to cure all to everything. The motors are smoking a lot because I have the 50-to-1 mixture, or 25-to-1, but the heavier duty one for the break-in period. So it's going to smoke like crazy until I can take them out and do the proper break-in. Use that lower mix. Okay, we got engine number 2 roaring to life. Super smoky. It's burning off all that stuff I just sprayed in there. It's a little bit hard to start. It took about 8 or 9 pulls. But these motors, once they're in regular use, they're very easy to start. Like kind of a half a pull and they're there. I still may try to put an electric start on the motor. Didn't come with one. The kit's there. The problem is this thing here. Where would I put it? Probably underneath there, where I can stick that motor. But we'll figure that out. They start so easily, but you're going to want an electric start, I'm sure, when it comes time to, when it's on the boat. You just want everything right at the helm. Okay, walking to the boat in the garage here. You can see we've got this pretty much set up. Now one might say, wow, this looks like it's wider than the doorway. And you would be right if you thought that. So normally at this stage, we would be putting this boat in a yard and finishing the rest of it off, and a crane would take it away and put it in the water, but that's not the case here. So we're not going to be doing any fiberglassing, sort of gluing to the hulls. We're going to take care of most of the inside. We'll bring it out in 3 sections: hull, and then the middle there. And we'll have to reassemble it at the beach. So nothing's ever easy, particularly in the places where it'd be great to have a boat like this. But we have, I think, some idea. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay, this is the starboard side here. You can see we put the floors there. We made it 2 panels, and there's some support underneath it. The very back porthole looks like that. There's a board in there. The guy who's working on this part of it thought that it was better if we put some support and split it in half. So we'll see how it goes in the final run. So you can see up front here what that board looks like underneath. I think we're going to wind up doing a T-bar of some sort. You can see it in the front there too. But for now, we'll leave it as is. My goal is to get the boat on the water in a basic sense, and then spend a couple of years getting all this stuff done. We'll see how it does. If I think the floors need to be reinforced, then we'll do that as well. So moving along here, we have the back deck here. This still has to be glassed and painted. There'll be storage here when we finish this off. We're gonna put two motors here, motor nacelle there, and a motor nacelle there. What I might do for this one is I might put like a seat over the motor nacelle. We'll see how it comes out. And then you can sit there and steer or use the tiller bar, whichever you want, from here. I don't know, we'll have to see how that comes out. Here's something that maybe people might want to see what it looks like in reality versus the plans. I was always, some of the pictures I looked at, like in the plans, I couldn't figure out, like the inside of the boat has cubby storage. That's this space here. That's the space that connects the cuddy to the hulls. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna, of course, carve holes out in there so you can access those cuddies. That's storage. We're gonna paint and do all that stuff to the inside of that too. The cuddy is pretty much done. See here, come on in here. I don't know what I'm gonna do for I gotta get some custom upholstery. I didn't cut the window. I just wanna wait till I get it first before I cut it. I'll do that at the end when I get out of this garage or close to it. But it's pretty nice. The cuddy's nice. Normally people use this for storage, but I have teenage sons and they've told me they wanted to use it as kind of a ninja bed. So we'll leave it there. We'll put some cushions there. I'm gonna put some bean bags out on the deck there and trampoline. So maybe when it's raining or we're underway, we'll just put the bean bags in there or in here too. I don't know what we're gonna do with a table, and I don't know how we're gonna, like, I know some people use this whole area as a sort of bed and they put something here that's collapsible. I haven't figured that out. We're gonna just go with the basics, and then we'll, spend a couple of years adding all that other stuff too. We haven't put the glass in. I didn't buy it yet, the Plexar, or whatever it is, but polycarbonate, but I know where to get it, and I have all the glues and everything for it, activators. I'm not sure here. I think we're gonna put the sink here. I'll put like some kind of stove there, and some, we'll put some water or something like that. I've seen somebody make shelves there, like over that area there, and they use that to store their stuff. I've got some pre-made shelves that I think are going to go in there, and then underneath here I think I'm going to put all the batteries. People say, oh, it's a lot of weight, but the original plans call for a like 25-gallon water tank. That's 250 pounds. So we're not going to put that big water tank there. So here's the more finished to the port side. See the back storage there. It's kind of dirty because we're still working on it. And now what we're starting to do is get into the framing. The complication here with this framing is that we have to take the boat apart and transport it to where it's going to go in the water. So in order to do that, we're going to basically make the top removable somehow. Exactly how, I don't know, but we're going to make it removable, and then we're going to do the final install. So we'll be at the beach for a month, I'm sure, or more, getting all this stuff together. This is kind of a look from the front. We've got the doors made here. We're just leaving them open. And then you get a sense of how big the trampoline, probably the camera won't pick it up, but it's an enormous amount of space. I really think there needs a catwalk, just because that trampoline, to get that trampoline snuggle across that big space, it's going to be a lot harder. So, but that's something, again, we can add later, because I'd love to put there's enough for like 4 bean bags there, and people want to sit out and sit on the deck, and I've seen people do that. It's pretty nice. So I bought all the winches and everything in the US when I was there a couple weeks ago. It takes about 2 months. I shipped them slow freight, so it takes a couple of months to get those there, get here. And I know this one, I also bought the sails too. Those are coming from the States. There's supposed to be some kind of console here. I haven't figured out what I want to do with that yet. And I may build something. The generator I'll show you in part of this video series. I want to put this generator somewhere accessible, so I don't have to pull it out of storage and use it. So if we, like somewhere over here, or maybe we'll build a little box for it here or something, so that when we need it, we can just crank it open, but it has to be unexposed to the element. So, all right, anyway, that's the boat. And what's going to be cool about it is the back. What's not there yet is that, it's missing half the deck space, because the back here has a deck, So that'll be nice too. And then for this area here, what I may do with the whole area is on top of it, you know, those kind of bench backs that you see, like just the bench part long. I might just put some marine benches, maybe 3 of them there, 4, make it one long sitting area, or at least 3 areas, one here, and one here. I don't know yet. We'll figure it all out. Okay, that's a look at it, the boat as it looks at the moment. It's coming along, still a lot of work. We'll see how long it takes, but getting excited that looks like we'll be in the water at some point. So I'm taking this video a couple weeks or 3 weeks after I took the first one. You can see we started to cover everything. We have the framing going up on the starboard side. This is the port side. And we're leaving parts of this open because, as we said in the video earlier, these beams here, we're gonna have to take the 3 sections apart to get it out of the workshop here. We still haven't put a floor in the bathroom there. I made it duplicate hulls. So in this case, because we might be using this for chartering or what have you, I figured it would be better to have the 2 bathrooms than the little bit of extra space that is sometimes offered if you do the hull the other way. So if we come in here, careful not to hit my head, which I've been doing, is this is kind of what it would look like in the back here, covered up. And there's windows here on this side when it's finished. So there's plenty of light, and I'm gonna put probably a nice window here. So hopefully we'll have at least this side decked pretty soon. So we'll do a quick panoramic of the workshop here. Got all kinds of stuff. This isn't ours completely. We're leasing it. There was some other projects going on before. We're kind of lucky to have it here, but this will give you a sense of what the boat looks like on the side. We've got a lot of painting to do. In most cases, we did just a layer of, several layers of primer, 2-part epoxy primer. There's epoxy on all of it and fiberglass on everything as well. But we're gonna leave the top coats, a 2-part top coat, something called Jutsen, and that's what people tend to use. And that's what we're gonna use to finish off. But we'll do 8, 9, 10 coats of that before we're done. But for now, just a little bit of epoxy and the bottom stuff so that it doesn't, you know, this garage is pretty dank, so we don't want it to, so it'll maintain its integrity and not get water damage while we're finishing it up. Okay, let's walk up to the front. You get kind of a sheer sense of the size of this, the enormity of it when you walk around and you check it out from the front. So the first thing is, if we look at it here, we haven't put the front spreader bar here. That's because I haven't found one yet. And they go right here, and I'm gonna be looking for a 6-inch aluminum pipe. That they're somewhat hard to come by. So when we get that, we're gonna put an aluminum pipe there. And I think we might wind up building a catwalk. I don't intend on putting the boat into the water until March, because from now until March, there'll be endless rains, and it's the typhoon season. I live in a place called Typhoon Alley, at least for now. It's this is a rare moment where it's not raining. It rains almost consistently for 8 months nonstop. So we'll be sailing out of this area to some sunnier areas for sure. So let's go ahead and take a look at the side. So here's the electrical system kind of finished out. Basically, I have this echo flow, and I'm not sure I made the right decision with this. I'm just, right now I'm charging it. I'll show you how it's done. It's got like an hour to charge. So the way we're gonna run this is, we're going to run it basically, so I saw this online, it seems to work well. I bought a 48-volt battery, which is what this is. You can do this with different voltage, the 48-volt 100-amp battery that I got for pretty cheap, about $400, which is cheap for something like this. And basically what it does is you get these connectors here, and if you're interested, send me an email or a link or a notice, and I'll send you the links for these connectors. They're XT60 and they're fused and they go into the battery. I'm gonna do this a little bit nicer with bus bars and everything when I put it on the actual boat. But basically, the battery is going to feed, recharge the EcoFlow by, through the solar inputs. And then what I'm gonna do is hook the solar up, which is here, flexible panels. I'll hook this one up to Let's see if we can get this one straightened out here. We'll hook this one up, to the battery. So solar power charges battery, battery charges the EcoFlow. I chose this because it has a very robust inverter, and there's like all kinds of ports there, like a USB-C, which will power the Starlink. And so we've also got like different things here. We've got fuses and breaker bars. The solar goes into the, you have to fuse it. Goes into the, or put breaker bars here. It goes into the MPPT controller. I have, these are 200 watts each. I have 6 of these. So I'm going to do, this controller can take the entire array as a series. So like just kind of plug one into the next. It comes up with, it can handle 120 volts, but 120 volts is not considered safe in the marine environment. So the most you want is 60 volts. So when you put it in a series, you add up the voltage. When you connect it in parallel, you add up the amperage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 series, 3 and 3 as a series, and I'll connect them together as that way. As a parallel, I think you call that series and then parallel. And what that'll do is it's a double positive. It reduces the voltage so that I don't have the shocking hazard, and it ups the amperage. So when you do the parallel connection, I hope I'm saying that right. If you combine 2 systems, you add the amperage. So each series is going to put 10 amps out, and you get 20. So that's a double benefit. It's a benefit because for a battery like this, about 20 amps is what you want to put into it to charge it. Now I'll have, right now I don't have it all set up, but I have breakers and all that stuff in case, just in case. We have the Starlink there. Now the solar panels, these are, I guess you'd call these budget friendly, but I had these outside testing them for about a week, and I noticed there's already some corrosion. So I guess the makers didn't feel that they would ever encounter water. So I'm probably gonna have to re-grommet all these with stainless steel grommets, which is okay. But the more concerning issue is this back here. This purple color means that maybe it was laying flat on the concrete, because I thought that's, these are what you get flat panels for. They're a little bit unwieldy, but without space in between, you still need to put some space in between. So I think the way I'm going to accomplish this, I'm going to build a kind of a bimini top, big enough for the whole solar panel array. But what I'm going to do is put double-sided Velcro. I'll attach them. That's not the only thing I'm going to use to attach them. Like, make some use of these attachment points here. But that Velcro underneath will give it the channels that it requires to have air going through it to keep it cool. So essentially that's the battery. Now the other downside to the setup is you don't really get to know what your battery is all about all the time, your whole system. So there's 2 systems here. What happens with this one, let's see, it's on Echo Save mode. This will charge, let's say this was full, it would start to take power from the battery, which it thinks it's solar panels, the minute it drops below, I think, 95%. So you're always kind of topping this battery off. So this is always going to look full. So when you check the app for this, it always looks full. And this one here, I guess I can get some sort of a device here to help me monitor this, but you can check the voltage, what's left there, through that BMS type system. So anyway, what's cool about this is in another segment of this video, I have the generator, which could charge this one up in probably about an hour. See, if you look at it here, it takes about an hour to get the battery charged, because this thing will pull 2,000 watts or something like that. Now, in case everything fails and I have to charge this one with the generator, you wind up having to get a 48 volt. It's a 48 volt battery charger, and they're not cheap. They're actually kind of expensive, so that was a surprise. And I thought I was going to be able to use one of these for my car, but then of course we have Starlink, which is going to eat up a lot of this power and those power-hungry computers that are with it. So I think though, where I'm coming from with the sort of overly complicated part, after I've got this all together, I realized this one has DC out through those USB-C ports, which would be perfect for Starlink. Starlink claims to be 12 volt, but it comes with like a 30-foot cable, and there's not enough juice. You have to send the juice out at a much higher voltage than 12 volt. The USB-C cables are what they recommend, or what people online recommend as well. But the only other place, this does DC out as well, but there's it's hard to see it, but down there's like a cigarette lighter type DC output. I don't believe that's going to be enough to run all the DC stuff on the boat. I probably still will have to put, some sort of DC out system pulling directly from that battery. Again, I'm going to get a few bus bars and make it all look a lot nicer. But I think, now that I think about it, shouldn't I just maybe have bought a 3,000 watt inverter, a high-end one? It would have been a lot cheaper than this here. But I think too, having this set up this way, we've got redundancy. If that battery, something happens to that, I just plug the solar directly into it. If something happens to this, I might just get not a super expensive one, but a 3,000 watt inverter as a backup, and then we just use that. So where I'm at in the Philippines, it's truly off-grid, especially when you're on the boat. There are really no marinas. There are maybe about 3 or 4 in the whole country, and so you have to really be equipped to handle your own power needs and things like that. So that's why I'm spending so much time on this. I might even get another one of those batteries while they're still cheap, so we'll see how it goes. So that's the actual power setup, and then we have about 6 more of these, and the bimini top going over the back, we're going to build that. It's going to be about the size of 6 of those, 3 and 3. So I've got this generator here. It's 3,500 watts, a little small one there. This is what I'm going to put on the boat, and this is what I'll use. That EcoFlow battery can take 20 watt or 2,200 watts and charge from 0 in an hour. So, I'm always, solar doesn't work out, none of the big battery I have doesn't work out, I can always run this motor to charge up that EcoFlow. So I've got some backup and redundancy built into my system. I just hope I haven't made it overly complicated. Well, that wraps up the video. I'm actually taking this a couple weeks or maybe 3 weeks after I started it. And I included some bonus footage inside because we did more work on it in the intervening 3 weeks. Yeah, as luck would have it, I'm actually wearing the same shirt 3 weeks later. So looks like I did on the same day. But what you couldn't see before, that's why I took the picture from here, is that we live near the Mayon volcano, which is one of the largest, and they claim to have the most perfect cone in the world. So I'll be providing the community with some additional updates. My next series of videos will be little ones, asking mainly questions about things like the flooring, and there's a lot of little things that I'm not quite sure about, so I'll reach out to the community hopefully and pick your brains about it. Okay, thanks. I hope you enjoyed the video.